I will speak of the prison for women, not just as a historical site, but also the people inside. Think not of them as criminals, but of fellow sisters, caring mothers and guardians, abused and mistreated. I will mainly speak of three people: Fran, member of the collective who served 2 terms in prison; Anne and Lisa, our former prisoners. I knew them all personally. This history has been all but forgotten, and though many people died there, the prison for women is less well known. The group I mentioned earlier are trying to make a memorial garden for our dead sisters that have been. Prison for Women, more commonly known as P4W, started in 1934 and ended in 2000. During this time, it was the only federal prison for women, so women from all over the country were ripped away from their family to serve time in P4W. P4W sits across the street from the better-known, but none less horrendous, Kingston Penitentiary on 40th Sir John A. Macdonald, Kingston, Ontario. Senator Kim Pale says that history and recognition must include public acknowledgement of the fact that too many women were imprisoned and died there. Most were isolated thousands of miles away from their children, their home. Between a span of 3 years, from December 1988 to February 1991, 7 women died there of suicide, 6 of which were Indigenous. Mass Gungan report called it unfit for bears, much less women. Fran remembers helping cut down a friend who tried to hang herself. She, too, also tried to commit suicide. There is footage of an all-male emergency response team strip-searching the women. And then, they left them shackled to the floor for 6 hours. Like Franny said, we see these women as our fallen sisters because they were, Anne says, women who were born just like anybody else, but they were born to these unfortunate circumstances that our economic and social politics create. She also says that many of the women who were incarcerated at prison for women were the victims of physical and sexual abuse, as well as racism, sexism, 10 years and economic inequality. The number of federally sentenced women has grown up by 30%. For Indigenous women, it's 60%. Many of those women will have come to prison experiencing mental health issues and physical abuse. The P4W Memorial Collective, which wants a memorial garden built on the grounds, also plans a healing circle on the site to draw attention to the high incarceration rates of Indigenous and other disadvantaged females, says CTV News. The goal of the P4W Memorial Collective is to create a memorial garden on the P4W grounds for future generations to reflect on the lives lost behind prison walls and to celebrate the strength, survival, and resistance of the women behind bars. The group says, "We must take care not to forget the lives it once held, or to overlook those warehoused elsewhere today." This lady says, a lot of the conversations have been about the architecture, which is not unimportant. What is more important is the human history that this site has, and all the stories. I feel it essentially when I walk past. I remember the women who were there. There were students of mine who died there, so I can't walk by without feeling the power of that. These are people not to be forgotten, but to be remembered. So let us not think of this as this is in the past, but as let us learn from our mistakes and use this to help us in the future. That is why we need a memorial, Anne says, to show that this is not in the past. It is still going on. It should be a place where people can come and respect our fallen sisters, and pray and be at one with them, whatever they need to do, says Fran. The healing is very important, because if you don't heal from the institution, you'll end up back in it.